Book 101 review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. She is the author of the book Let's Take the Crap Out of Psychotherapy. No other than Miss Yildiz Sethi. Welcome.
Hello,
Well,
Yildiz,
yes.
Yildiz here. Thank you for inviting me on your show.
Welcome to Book 101, Miss Yildiz. And please, can you please introduce more about yourself?
Yes, I am living in Australia. I'm a psychotherapist, and I used to be a science teacher, and I used to be a Vedic astrologer. So I've done quite a few jobs in my life so far. And I guess my main purpose in what I do is looking at personal development and spirituality, people being free to fulfill their potential, I guess, right, is what I'm really interested in. And so I became a Vedic astrologer and noticed all those cycles that people go around, that they're stuck in a lot of the time. And I wondered what could be done to help people out of those. That's what got me into being a counselor. And then as a counselor, I realized very quickly that it's very limited about how really deep change taking place quickly. And I'm a fairly impatient person. So I thought, surely there are ways we can work that are more effective. You don't have to spend 10 years in therapy or even a few years in therapy. It doesn't seem reasonable. And especially when you look at the neuroscience right now that say that the brain has the ability to rewire itself very quickly under the appropriate conditions. So I kind of started looking around for different ways of working, basically, that are more effective. And so now I'm a brief therapist, and people come to see me once or up to 4 times for a really complex issue or trauma or depression or anxiety or panic attacks, anything like that. Even abuse recovery, within 1 to 4 sessions. And I thought, well, surely the world needs to know that you don't have to spend your whole life or many years or lots of money in therapy when you don't have to. And that's what got me to write the book. And in writing the book, I kind of realized I wasn't on my own. There are many other people around the world, professors, researchers, neuroscientists, other authors who also saying a similar thing, really. And so I was really quite happy to find that I wasn't on my own. And so I've written all about this in my book, Let's Take the Crap Out of Psychotherapy, just to let people know that you don't have to suffer. You can get help really quickly, deeply, and effectively. And I'm talking in that book to people of the public, people around the world who are looking for the help in whatever they're doing, stuck in depression or stuck in something. And they're told by the medical model that, yes, look, you've got a diagnosis of depression, you'll have it for life, and here's the medication, right? And even if there is a therapy, it's cognitive behavioral therapy usually, which just is about managing the symptoms and not actually going to the cause of it and helping to process that cause quickly, deeply, and effectively. So that's what I'm here about. I'm also talking to other psychotherapists and people working in mental health, that you don't have to, people who go into those kind of jobs are people who really want to make a difference, generally speaking, like I did, that they want to really help, people make changes. They want to feel good about what they're doing. They want to see results. And, they're stuck in this system where the therapies, the traditional therapies that are being used are very long term and usually don't address at all the cause of these issues. They just work at the symptoms, right? Or telling the story over and over again, which, if it works, fantastic. But if it doesn't, they're stuck, right? So
Yes.
that's really what I'm all about, Donald.
Miss Yildiz Sethi, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge to the world. What does the title mean to you, and why did you choose such a bold one?
To be heard, right? That's all. Because you can hear from the way I'm talking. I don't normally talk in that way, right?
Yes.
But I thought, look, I don't want to make a nice fluffy title that gets faded into the background, that is never going to be seen or heard. And so I chose a bold title, very different from my other three previous books, because I have a lot to say, and I'm saying it with some credibility as being in this business now for 25 years, right? I'm not a newcomer. I've tried so many different ways of working, and I've discovered ways of working of my own, which I have trademarked, which actually really make a difference. So yes, I'm putting out a big flag to say, look at this. At least open your eyes, at least read it, at least get to understand what I'm saying and why I'm saying it, and see what you think. Yeah. So
What
hence the bold title. Yeah.
was there a particular moment or experience that sparked the idea for this book?
Um. Oh gosh. Not really. It's been a theme of my life, I guess, but it's I always wanted to make a difference, right? I always wanted to help people, and I was always interested in finding out what works. And if I couldn't find out what works, I would create what works, and that's what got me into science. I was a science teacher, and I really loved working with children and seeing their lights go on, realizing they're not stupid, or they do understand and they can do it. That's what kind of got me going, until a certain point in my life when I decided, no, I've done this now with children for a long time. Let's go and work with adults, and again, making a difference, helping them have the best life they can have. I really believe life is precious, and that we do need to find our purpose, uh, develop the skills that we need to develop, whatever we need to do, and just enjoy our life. And so that's what got me into psychotherapy, really. And then that's what got me into becoming an entrepreneur or a founder of psychotherapy, in discovering better ways of working with the mind. And this is so backed up anyway with the local science, the present day science. So that's what got me into this. I guess my big question, I've always had lots of questions going on in my head. Why? And why not? Why does psychotherapy have to take years? Sorry, I just don't get it, and I didn't accept it, I guess. Really, I'm a bit stubborn, perhaps, or I don't know. But in all walks of life, there are always people who dare to go that next step and change something. I guess that's really what I'm about. Yeah.
Let's talk about the themes and concept of the book. What do you consider the crap in a psychotherapy that needs to be removed?
Yeah. Okay. If we consider the psychotherapy that comes from the medical model, which is psychiatrists, psychologists, people doing CBT, the GP, they are all still using the belief that the mind, once it goes wrong, cannot be fixed. And that dates back from a belief they've taken on, which dates back to 5 BC, right? And so they took on this belief that the mind cannot be fixed. In a long time ago, of course, they didn't know. They had no idea. Now, in the present day, they're still using the same belief, which is called the somatogenic idea that the mind, once it's broken or not working perfectly, cannot be fixed. And so, because they're still using that, they don't even attempt to cure. They attempt to diagnose and give CBT to manage the symptoms, or they give talk therapies so that you can talk about it and whatever. And but they are, and often they give medication with a diagnosis for life. So that's the main problem. If that belief was brought up to 2025, with all the science and all the research that's going on in all areas of the world at the moment, that actually the mind and the brain can rewire itself very easily and does so all the time, then things are going to change significantly. You can bring better psychotherapies that actually work at recovery, not just managing symptoms with medication. And of course, the pharmaceutical industry itself has got a lot to do with this as well, of course, right? It's their business model, isn't it, to keep everybody taking medication forever. Yeah.
Indeed, Miss Yildiz, and thank you so much for your empowering answer. How do traditional therapy models fall short in your opinion?
Just by believing that the mind can't change or takes years to change. Just that belief alone. And that's what they're educated in. That's what I was educated in as well as a counselor, right? Or a
Yeah.
psychotherapist. And so it's it was it's in all the universities, not just in my country, Australia, but in definitely all the Western universities, all the psychiatrists of the world. It's mainly because the belief is there. And when you look at the actual research, even CBT now goes back to the 1960s, right? Gestalt
Yes.
therapy goes back to the 1950s and 60s. All the other, Rogerian talk therapies go back to the 1940s and 50s. So we've got this huge vacuum from the mid 1900s to now, where nothing new has come through. And that's ridiculous, because if you think about how in every other area of the world we have evolved so much, look at what we're doing here right now, talking to each other on the other side of the world through, an amazing, cam system or an internet system. And yet psychotherapy stayed way back in the mid 1900s. That's the problem. We've got to shake off all those old beliefs and just come into the 2025s, where there is lots of evidence and lots of ways of working which can help, not just my way of working. I'm sure there are other psychotherapists out in the world doing amazing work, but because we're not part of the medical model that believes this limiting belief, we're not even allowed to say anything. We're not heard. Hence the loud title that I've created, because I wanted to actually get people to take notice. Yeah, that's all.
Let's talk about the practical insight, Miss Yildiz. What practical tools or advice can readers take away from your book?
Okay, readers who are the public, ask more questions of your medical person or your psychotherapist or your counselor that you're working with. Do they believe they can get better? Right? Because if you're working with a psychotherapist that does not believe you can get better, you're wasting your time there, to be honest. And if all they're doing is helping you with managing the symptoms, it's like, well, are you okay with that? Perhaps you better find a psychotherapist who has more tools, more knowledge, more effective ways of working that can help you in recovery. That's for the public. For the psychotherapists, counselors, psychologists, mental health workers, consider what you're really doing, and are you satisfied with the way you're working? And if not, start thinking about how you can work more effectively or add more skills, more knowledge to your own profession. That's really what I would say. Yeah.
Interesting indeed, Miss Yildiz. Do you offer guidance for therapies who want to change the way they practice?
Yes, I am a founder of emotional mind integration, rapid core healing. Those are the ways I work all the time. And I offer training online for psychotherapists and mental health workers. So I have people all over the world attending my trainings online, right? And for people who want help, I offer sessions online again. So, yes, people in my country, I can see them in person, but I also have most of my work happening online at the moment throughout the world.
Miss Yildiz, as an author, what will be your short-term and long-term goals?
Okay, as an author, I guess, yeah, okay. That's a hard one for me because I'm a psychotherapist.
Yes.
Look, the thing I'm not good at and haven't been good at is marketing, right?
Yes.
And that's really what I am attempting to repair or improve. And if I can't do it myself, finding good people who can do that for me. So it's like you're good at what you do, but then if you need to get it out into the world, that's another whole step and another whole set of knowledge, technology, people, knowledge, etc. So yeah, that's what I'm wanting to do. I have several other books I'm wanting to write as well, and I will get to that when I get, when I have time. You can probably understand, Daniel, that I'm a very busy lady. I do a lot of things, and when I decide to do stuff, I have to be very determined to make space to do it. Yes. Yeah.
Good luck to your goals, Miss Yildiz, and looking for more and more empowering books like this to come. Let's talk about the reception and response of the book. How has a mental health community responded to your book?
Because it's so new, I haven't done that much marketing as yet. But this, as of now, starting the beginning of May, I'm going on a whole marketing campaign. So hopefully, yes, I'm going to be getting it out to more people. I want to be talking to many more groups of people in person, online, in conferences. Um, yes, email. I have newsletters. I have, obviously social media groups, which I'm constantly going to as well. So yes, just getting it out on as many platforms as possible. Yeah.
I recommend you email campaign, Miss Yildiz. What has or what was the most surprising response or review you received so far?
Um, Actually, so far, all of my reviews have been, thank goodness, somebody's saying out loud what we've all been thinking forever, right?
Yes.
From psychotherapists. Um, that's been the main theme, if you like. Oh, thank goodness, breath of fresh air. At last, somebody's daring to say what we've all been thinking. It's that kind of response that I've been getting. Yes.
Indeed, interesting, Miss Yildiz. And if there's one message you want every reader to walk away, what is it?
Change takes place all the time in your mind, in your brain. All you have to do is open up and just decide you're going to change, basically. And if you can't do it by yourself, seek help. And I guess the other thing is just noticing whether you're a glass half empty person or a glass half full person. Do you understand what I mean by that? So somebody who's a glass half empty person always sees everything with a negative view. A glass half full person sees things with a more positive view. And it's really important, if you're a glass half empty person, to switch that around, because it will open up your life to lots of possibilities.
Very well said, Miss Yildiz. But before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, book 101 review and fifth season, comedy 101 in second season, and food 101 in its fifth season as well. Geography 101 and love letters in third season, and my baby podcast, Mental Health 101, movie 101 review, and music 101 in its fourth season. So please do listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. Miss Yildiz, are you planning to have a follow-up or companion book to expand on this topic?
Yes, I'm going to be writing a book on um, emotional mind integration, and that's going to be a book which I'm going to be calling the keyhole surgery of the mind, right? Um, in the sense of keyhole surgery, meaning going directly to the problem without making too much damage, if you like, and sorting it out very quickly, coming up, and it's just a simple stitch on top, right? So and that's really how I look at the way I'm working. So that's going to be the title of my next book, I think. Yeah.
Miss Yildiz Sethi, thank you so much for sharing your empowering books to the world. So can you please invite our listeners to support all your books?
Thank you very much. And it's been a pleasure to talk to you, Daniel, and thanks for your podcast.
Yes, indeed. So where do you usually buy your books, Miss Yildiz?
Amazon.com.
Yes, people, let's support Miss Yildiz Sethi where books are sold. And if you support her, more and more and more empowering books like this to come. So, Miss Yildiz, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Daniel.
More to come, people. See you soon.